part of 5 hours that the EFF leader, Julius Malema, spent in the witness box yesterday. Our reporter, Manqoba Mchunu, has been at the Equality Court covering that case. Manqoba, thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at more of Julius Malema's testimony. What were the other salient parts of what he had to say?
Well, Tafuma, one of the critical points that was argued here in court by Julius Malema is firstly the fact that he denies the fact that he sang that song in Senegal 2 years ago. Of course, you recall that this is one of the allegations that have been made by AfriForum that Julius Malema had in fact sang the song outside the Brandon Horner's murder case in Senegal 2 years ago. We recall that there was a lot of tension between the communities there, the farming community, as well as the EFF members that are collected there to support or to kind of be part of that court case. And that's where some of the EFF leaders had been gathered there. So the allegation was that Julius Malema had in fact sang those words, shoot the Boer, while he was attending to that court case. But he has denied that, saying that in fact he has not uttered those words, he did not sing that chant, and even saying that they've got the wrong man, they're looking for the wrong person if they say that he was the one that ultimately sang that song. But in terms of the song itself, when you look at the song and the history of struggle songs, Julius Malema going into lens to explain that, you know, struggle songs should not be taken in their literal meaning because this amounts to distortion of their message, this amounts to distortion of their meaning. He made an example of one of the songs which he cited here in court, which spoke to the fact that our mothers are happy when we kill Boers. It's a very popular song that is still sung up until this very day, and saying that you cannot literally take that in literal meanings and say that mothers are happy when their children kill people. It's just merely to try and show that they are unhappy with the system that they had been facing at the time, the system of oppression. And therefore, if a mother, somebody who is thought to be peaceful, somebody who's viewed as a nurturer, could be happy when somebody kills somebody, that means that they're really speaking to the oppressive time that they'd been living in. So he says that most of these songs were used just to express the sort of circumstances and the sort of mood that they were going through at that particular point, and not meant to be taken literally. And also stressing the point that, in fact, when they talk about the word Boers, they are referring to a system, not particularly referring to white farmers, but a system of oppression. And he says that this is what they say when they sing the words Boer, when they sing those words kill the Boer. They're talking about attacking an oppressive system. And this time, the oppressive system that he talks about is, you know, the fight for economic freedom. He says that many of those poor people, the black people, are still dispossessed of their land. And as the EFF, one of their cardinal points is to ensure that they deal with the issue of land reform in this country. And so when they sing songs like that, they are simply meaning that they are talking about an oppressive system that doesn't want to offer those marginalized people that economic freedom.
Well, yesterday, just before we crossed to you, we could hear lots of singing outside, and there seemed to be lots of support. Has that continued today? And can we expect to hear more from Malema?
Indeed, we are expecting the EFF leader to continue being cross-examined today by AfriForum lawyers. Of course, yesterday they posed many questions to him, and one of those questions was around his own beliefs, around his party's beliefs and what his party stood for. And Julius Malema was quite firm to say that his party stands for those who are marginalized. They stand for the issue of land expropriation without compensation, and going as far, Tafuma, as even saying that, you know, the fact that AfriForum had taken this matter to court is simply a waste of court's time, saying that they really just wanted to promote the book that was written by their head of policy, Ernst Roots, and saying that, of course, Ernst Roots himself is racist. The utterances and some of the things that have made reference to in that book cannot be proven, and he's just trying to basically push a certain narrative that he wants this court to believe. But I want you to take a listen to what Julius Malema had to say in particular about this particular issue.
The black people roots know the first black person he saw is a domestic worker in his house when he grew up. The second black person he saw was a security guard at the gate when he got out. The third black person he saw was a cashier at the shop owned by white people. The fourth black person he saw was the cleaners where he went to school. Those are the blacks he has had an interaction with. And he thinks of us like that, because that is his exposure to black people. And therefore, always characterizing us as non-thinkers. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a society where we coexist with such people who look at us and who think of us like that. We don't think like that about them. Our leaders never thought of like that about them.
What do you think, or do you have any idea, Manqoba, what he might cover today or what might be covered today?
Well, Tafuma, I think what the AfriForum will try to focus on, of course, is some of the questions around Julius Malema's appearance in Senegal 2 years ago. And of course, there were some questions that were asked to him about whether or not he would actually, sort of as an EFF leader, condemn the killing of Brendan Horner. And his answer was that he didn't even know who Brendan Horner was. So we are expecting lots more questions about that and his views and his, perhaps the views of his party, the EFF, on farm murders in the country. Yesterday it did allude to the fact that South Africa has a problem of violent crimes, and that farm murders should not be isolated and should not be looked in terms of race. But murder is murder. Whether it's a child, whether it's a woman, they should just be classified as murder, and not that any particular race should be singled out. So we're expecting more of that cross-examination to take place here today. And of course, we are expecting the leader of the EFF to address his supporters here outside court. There were quite a lot of them who had gathered here yesterday. And of course, today we're hearing that more are coming to listen to their leader. He's expected to address them after he finishes his testimony here in court.
All right, Manqoba, we'll leave you to it then. Thank you so much for joining us, Manqoba Mchunu, at the Equality Court in Johannesburg in the matter between AfriForum and the EFF, where Julius Malema and his party are accused of hate speech. AfriForum says Julius Malema allegedly incited hate speech in singing the Shoot the Boer song.